Um, Good afternoon, everybody. We'll give it here a few minutes here, let everybody kind of get logged in and joined the session. I did put in the chat if you guys want to tell us who's here and who you're with, so we can kind of track that a little bit too. That would be great. Well, good afternoon, everybody. I'm Angie Stump Denton. For those that don't know me, I'm the Drover's editorial leader for Farm Journal. I'm a has-been from the LPC board, but it's great to see all your smiling faces and have you joining us today for coffee and collaboration. I'm Rachel Waggy's assistant. She's the lead on this. I just kind of am there to help her in the background, but unfortunately she couldn't be with us today, so you get to have me as your host. But excited to be here, and I'm really excited about today's topic. It's something that I think a lot of us, are challenged with or thinking about how we utilize AI in our day-to-day life as ag journalists. But first we're going to start with Stacy, our executive director, and she's going to kind of give us some updates. And thanks for joining us, Stacy.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's great to see such a great crowd on today, some new faces. So, welcome. If you have any questions about Livestock Publications Council, I'm happy to answer those. But we're really glad to have all of you on today. And thank you, Eric, for joining us. I'm excited about this program also. The big thing happening in LPC world right now is Ag Media Summit. So, if you haven't made plans to join us July 19th through 21st in St. Louis, I can save you some money today. If you will go register today, you will get in on an earlier registration rate. So save some money if you've been putting it off. I was just saying I tend to wait till the last minute also, but get that early registration rate locked in. And your hotel rooms. We need to fill our block at the hotel, the conference hotel. So if you're planning to come, get your rooms reserved by tomorrow as well. It is critical to the success of the organization that we fill our block at the host hotel. Not only that, but also it's more fun to stay at the host hotel, right? You run into people in the elevator, in the hallways, and you don't have extra expensive Uber or anything like that. So if you've been on the fence, please, please, please go ahead and make those hotel reservations. The cutoff is tomorrow. So do that, save some money. We feel like we have a great program. Kenna Rathai's on here. She's been on our program committee for Ag Media Summit. If I missed anyone else, I'm sorry about that. I think I saw Steve Werblow as well. So thank y'all both for your help on the program committee. I think we have a stellar educational program this year, and you can find all of the breakout sessions on the website. I'll drop it in the chat. A quick schedule change from normal AMS. We're trying something new. So on Monday night, we are going to have the LPC All Stars, where we're actually going to do all our awards contest presentation that night. But it'll be late enough that you can still catch dinner and then come join us in the back at the hotel. And we're ready to celebrate everyone who joined and is winning something in our contest. And then our business meeting will still be Tuesday morning. So 7 a.m. Sorry about that on Tuesday morning, but there will be plenty of coffee, and we definitely want you to join us. But we're trying that out this year because we really want to celebrate our LPC members that participated in the contest. So that is all that I have. If you have any questions, again, I'll drop the Ag Media Summit link in the chat as well as my contact information. And again, thank you all for being here and for your support of LPC. Thanks, Angie.
Thanks, Stacy. We really appreciate all that you do for LPC. We know that you're the man behind everything that gets done. So thank you. Thank you for all you do to make sure our organization's going. Well, it's my honor to introduce our speaker today. I'm Eric Braun. He's the Senior Executive content for Farm Progress. And I'll let Eric kind of tell you more about himself and kind of get started here. But if you have questions, please put them in the chat. And we want to make this very educational for everyone. So, Eric, thank you for joining us, and we look forward to your presentation.
Thanks. You can get it shared here. There you go. Hopefully everybody can see that. And just a note to Stacy. I know Pam is very appreciative of the promotion for the event. So she wants to get those hotel rooms full. So please do register for those hotel rooms. So this is just we're going to talk about content and AI and how we use it at Farm Progress and how we use it to optimize for AEO and GEO. There we go. Eric Braun, Senior Executive for Content at Farm Progress. I'm a KC native, son of a butcher. My dad and my grandfather were both butchers. My grandfather was the head beef buyer for the Milgram's grocery store chain in Kansas City back in the day. Now I live in Woodlands, Texas. I've been in digital media for about 30 years. I started in 97 at the Austin American-Statesman, ended up in the Woodlands when I worked for the Houston Chronicle. And then an old boss came and asked me if I wanted to get into ag journalism about 10 years ago, and I did. So loved it and have enjoyed it ever since. My email address, if you have any questions afterwards, you want to shoot me a note. It's pretty easy to remember, first name, last name at farmprogress.com. That works for pretty much all of our employees on staff. So just some quick basics, just to make sure everybody, I'll throw some of these terms around, but generative AI, so that's basically using machine learning and artificial intelligence combined with large language models to create human-like responses and can create media too, among other things. It feels similar to a search engine, so user can ask it questions or give it a task to do, whereas agentic AI also uses machine learning, AI, and LLMs in the background without human intervention. So it's running processes in the background, and it can manage tasks completely on its own. That's a very simplified version, but that's essentially what I'm talking about with that. At Farm Progress, we, of course, we're owned by Informa, which is a large events and media company out of the UK. They've created an engine called Alicia. That's our proprietary generative AI engine, hoping to get some agentic tools out of it. But essentially, users can use it and select one of any number of LLMs out there to choose from, whichever is their favorite. I tend to use Claude. ChatGPT is in there, among some others. We can upload and it can analyze PDFs, Word docs, spreadsheets, CSVs, all kinds of different data we can upload. It processes and analyzes multimedia files as well, including, obviously video and audio. Users can create their own apps to automate mundane tasks. Most of what I use the tool for is analyzing Google Analytics data. So I just have it processing spreadsheets in the background. So I can just push them up there and it gets them in the format I want, and then it can analyze it and tell me and answer my prompts that I create. It can also write and debug code. I've created some games. I did like an agriculture Wordle that I keep on my desktop. It's super easy. You don't have to know how to code. And then it'll help you fix the code if it's not doing what you want it to do. But it's very simple to use. It's a lot of fun. And the company encourages us to experiment. And then it can just, because of the large language model layered on top of the AI, it can carry on dialogue with users. So how do we optimize our content with Alicia? By the way, all these images and the graphics I generated in the tool itself. Some are good, some are less good, but so I use them all as examples. But so we use Alicia a lot for SEO, GEO, and AEO optimized headlines and descriptions. Particularly, we have it ingrained into our content management system, so we can paste the story in there, and it'll give us ideas for better headlines that'll generate more search traffic, more AI engine traffic. We can also put the copy into Alicia, and it will propose edits or additions. It might notice where we could add a link to a source for more attribution to give that story more authority, which gives you a higher score. on search engines and AI engines. And then it might also suggest areas for clarification. Essentially, it can be the eyes of the audience for you. We might upload a story and say this story is targeted at a farmer in Iowa with 500 acres of soybeans. What do you think he or she will think of this story? And it'll provide you feedback based on that. And then for content creation, we'll use it as a brainstorming partner. It can suggest formats. So how do we want the story to be structured? Would this content idea work best as a listicle or an infographic, an explainer, Q&A, how-tos, lots of other ideas on how to create a story and how to format it. It can also suggest source suggestions, right? Is there somebody that I'm missing that I should be talking to? And even length recommendations. So what's going to optimize that content? Should it be a 350-word story? Is it a 1,000-word story? Is it like a 1,500-word explainer? That sort of thing. So that can be helpful in that regard. And then some non-AI optimizations, and this is outside of the AI tool that'll help us rank on AI engines. So much like SEO, create that people first content. Don't target it. Don't try to make it to be something that's specifically targeted to search engines or AI engines. So is it helpful to the audience? Does it solve a problem? Is the content original or unique? Is the content just for clicks? If you're just building content for clicks, chances are the engines will downgrade you. And then just technical optimization, working with the engineers. We work to try to have the site load faster, give users a good mobile experience. Those are two things I think probably all media websites struggle with because we also have ads. Ads tend to drag down performance. Secure sites. That's probably everyone has this on this call, but in case you don't, that's really critical. That's just you can tell if you have HTTPS at the front of your URL. Really important. So if you've been to any sort of SEO presentation, you probably know EAT. That was part of the helpful content update that Google did a couple of years ago with their search engine algorithms. It's just as effective for AI engine optimization. So it stands for experience. So does the content creator, what's their experience level with the subject that they're writing about, and then what's their specific expertise? What are the real skills, the credentials? Or is this person a professor? Do they have a master's degree? How do you communicate that to the audience and to the search engines so that they know why the person writing this content has that authoritative voice? So authoritativeness. So how others view this content creator website, right? So are there a lot of inbound links coming to this content, coming to the website? And then trustworthiness. Kind of all three of those connect and give a sense of trustworthiness to that author. And then also within the content, right? How transparent are you? Are you linking off to source data, to source information? And how accurate? Are there mistakes? One of the reasons we love our copy editors is because they keep the content, looking good and everything's spelled right and AP style, and those things all matter to search engines. So one of the most, I tried so hard with this image to look like a real author page, but this is as good as I could do out of the tool. But anyway, author pages are incredibly important when it comes to communicating all of EAT to your audience, right? So what are their real life experiences? Are they out? Did they experience something in a wildfire, right? If they're out in Nebraska this year, with all those wildfires, or Kansas or North Texas, you can mention those, that sort of real life experience is important. A history with the industry. What has that person done within the industry? What jobs have they held? What's their status? It's a good time to name drop. Did they work under someone? Did they have a mentor who brought them along? That's a good time to drop that person's name in as well. That person's credibility and authoritativeness can drop, and more authoritativeness onto the author itself. And then credentials, links to other sites, right? If the person contributing to your website is a university professor, you can link to their professor bio page. If they're with a company, link to their bio page on the company. Do they have academic papers? Do they have research papers out there? Link to all of those things. Any kind of certification, any awards, press releases about what they've done in the past. Those are all good things to link to and a quote that can increase that authoritative score for the authors. And then a good headshot just always helps, right? That's good for engagement, but it's something that the search engines are actually looking at as well. And I'm kind of using search engines and AI engines back and forth, but most of these things work for both now. Kind of back to multimedia or back to content creation within our tool. For images, we don't use any photorealistic images. We just view that as breaking trust with our audience. Anytime we use anything augmented by AI or have an actual AI type image, we note that it's been created by AI. Infographics, we don't really use AI for infographics. We have a tool called Infogram. Maybe some of you use that. It does have some AI built into it, but it's not, it's mostly a templated sort of program. Almost all of our infographics we built from scratch. Audio and video, the only way we use AI there is for transcripts and summaries. And so essentially we can just take, we have This Week in Agribusiness. We'll upload the video for that. We have Farm Progress America, the radio program. We upload that to Alicia. It can do a transcript and then give us a summary. We note that that was created using AI as well. And then this is just sort of how we operate when it comes to the ethics of using AI. I've kind of touched on all these, but for text, we only use AI as an aid in creation. And then for headline summaries and search and AI optimization, for audio and video, like I just said, transcripts and summaries, editors note that it was used. And again, with search engine and AI engine optimization, specifically around the SEO head and deck. That's the main things that we use it for. Images, again, no photorealistic images. And then we credit the AI tool as the creator of anything that we would use. And we maybe done that twice. we don't do a ton of it at all. And then for ongoing training, we have online classes. So from a corporate standpoint, we have LinkedIn. We use LinkedIn classes. We do one-on-one training, just peer-to-peer. And then Alicia Trailblazers, that's a group, sort of the early adopters. I'm one of these. We'll lead classes. We'll do one-on-one training again or smaller groups. But essentially, it's our job to be out there sort of evangelizing AI tools. And then just within our own team, we have some people who've really embraced the tool and are using it to just be more efficient in the creation of their content. And they'll lead sessions we have a weekly staff call on the editorial side, and they will do some training there. And then, Alicia, our AI tool, will do training itself. So, you can just ask it how or what the best way is to use Alicia, and it'll tell you. So that's pretty handy. And then troubleshooting, I think we've learned a lot just by getting bad answers out of Alicia, which happens a lot. There's a lot of hallucinations, some sort of crazy stuff comes out. Just look at this image. For some reason, she's looking off camera. The mouse is in front of the keyboard. You can, at first glance, it might look okay, but then you kind of go back, rework your prompt, and get your image to where you want it to be. So I just have 5 sort of basic rules around how I use AI. The main thing that I try to always remember is that AI wants to make you happy. Don't let it. They call it sycophantic AI, just because it's kind of constantly sucking up to you to make you feel good about the content you create and how you're doing. I actively ask AI to give me feedback that is negative, that, you know, like what can I do better? You know, what's wrong with this? So you really almost have to drag it out of the tool to get, you know, good feedback. The more complicated the prompt, the more likely it is to fail. So if you know, when you really start developing a long prompt, chances are it's going to fall apart on you. So you need to really double check and triple check all your results and continue refining those prompts. Once you do get your prompts into a place where you're happy with them, we have a list. It's actually built into our tool where we can save those prompts. And then, you know, it's helpful to remember that AI is really a collaborative partner. It's not a replacement for humans. It can get maybe, um, you know, 90% there, but that last 10% is everything, right? That last 10% is what kind of separates the humans from the robots, literally in this case. Um, so, you know, you know, don't resist the urge. And I know this might be coming down from maybe your corporate owners, if you're like us, who are always looking for ways to cut back. But yeah, don't let them replace um, humans. And then just again, avoid using photorealistic images. You know, this image on the right here, you know, I told, you know, our tool to create an image of BB King with his quote from one of his songs, "Nobody loves me but my mama, and she could be jiving too," which I thought was kind of appropriate for this. And because this, you know, again, it's an image that looks at first glance pretty realistic. I mean, it even added, you know, his guitar name Lucille there. But you can still tell that something isn't quite right. Right, the lighting's a little too perfect. Looks sort of plasticky, and it just there's just something off. You can't quite place it. But just keeping that trust with the audience is super important. I think that's it. Yes. All right. I'm happy to answer any questions or your thoughts.
Thanks, Eric. Does anybody
Yeah.
have any questions? You can either put them in the chat or just, yep. Diane, you have one. Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Eric. That was really informative. Something from right off the bat in your presentation that really interested me was that your organization decided to create their own AI model.
Mhm.
With respect to privacy, whatever you can share, can
Mhm.
you maybe provide some more background as to how the creation of Alicia came to be? In particular, I was wondering if you had to hire a third party, or is that something you were able to do internally with AI tools at your disposal now?
Yeah. So it's been a couple of years, and I wasn't involved from the very beginning of the tool. I believe we did hire some contractors to build it, um, and that's how we sort of got the beginnings of it. But eventually, you know, it really we brought in a team, and that's who manages the tool itself and keeps it growing and adding new tools to it all the time. Yeah, I think yeah, it was an outside group to start anyway.
Thank you.
Mhm.
There's a question in the chat from Rick. What kind of reader feedback have you had regarding images made with AI?
Well, we haven't really used a whole lot of images built with AI. I tend to use it more in reports that are internal. That I think the two or three times that we've actually used an AI image on the site, I haven't heard any feedback at all.
I have a question, Eric. It's Kenna.
Hi.
What I'm struggling with right now is how to, or if we, I mean, I'm an AI user. I use it for
Hmm.
different things. How do we train young writers to
Hmm.
write and also have it be okay that they use AI? Like I'm struggling with, okay, this was going to be your first news release out of the gates.
Hmm.
I talked through what I would normally talk through if AI didn't exist. I didn't say don't use it. Do we tell them not to use it? How do we train them on how to increase their writing skills or improve their writing skills?
well, I think there's two ways I would approach that. One is just set guardrails, give us a sandbox, right? Here's the sort of the safe place to play. Here's where, I would uh, just basically have some rules around how to use AI and, just be simple. But then also, I think, AI, the tool itself, can help coach people on how to write a little bit, right? Even so they don't have to ask, if they're like our team, we're spread all over the country. It's not as easy as just talking to the person in the cube next to you. The tool itself can do some coaching, especially around things like um, uh, search engine optimization. But I still think, I mean, for most writing, I mean, it really has to be human to human. So I think, that's not, AI just can't really teach people how to write really well.
Thanks.
Anybody else have any questions?
Yeah,
Sorry, go ahead.
I knew,
I've got
Steven.
one. Yeah, thanks, Eric. This is fascinating. I'm really intrigued by the way you're using it to help hone your SEO. So, is that knowledge inherent in Alicia in the first place, or for that matter, Chat or Claude or whatever, or do you have to train it on the data that you've already collected?
So it has a pretty strong understanding already of SEO and GEO and AEO. But I do train it. I can upload documents, and give it information. And I'll build into my prompts like, this is, here's the background on this. But yeah, I spend a lot of time training our tool so that it understands our audience. And I'll work with it on building personas, with it. So just so it can understand who our audience is, what they read, what their habits are. I upload a ton of spreadsheets of user behavior on the website. So it has a pretty strong knowledge of how people get to the website, where they're coming from, what devices they're using, all of that to help inform the feedback it gives us.
Awesome.
I had a follow-up question, very parallel to Steve's, that essentially the efficiencies and advantages that you've seen working with your proprietary AI software, Alicia, has that brought a lot of advantages and efficiencies compared to if you were just using Chat or Claude or any other tool like that?
Yeah, I mean, so one of the main way I use it is I generate a report. You know, Before I was doing it all, this report that would go out monthly to the entire team, and it was just this generic report over all of farm progress. Now I've created with Alicia, I send out a report that's tailored to each sub brand. So, I see Kevin on here, Kevin Schultz, he gets a report each month with analysis about the farmer and then how it performed that month, which stories did great, which stories did less great, which almost never happens with Kevin. They're all fantastic, obviously. But yeah, so I use that to just so that now I create like 20 reports a month rather than one report. And then for content creation, I think it's mostly helped with, just because we can go out and interview someone, and then we'll upload that audio file, and then we'll have Alicia, give us the transcript and timestamp it and pull out quotes that Alicia thinks are really relevant. And then with the timestamp, we can go back and confirm because you can't trust, these AI engines. They'll elaborate, hallucinate. But that's a good way so that you can kind of find those quotes that you're after and then make sure they're accurate.
Eric, your comment about transcribing. So I use Otter. So what does
Mhm.
any AI transcribe and do the, because Otter always, it'll timestamp
Yeah.
it for me and stuff. So, but I didn't even think about using Claude or something
Yeah.
like
Yeah, so we actually used Otter for a long, long time. Most of our staff, they loved it and were hesitant to give it up.
Yeah.
Um, but the team, the Alicia team, created a mobile app for us, and so now we can use that. So it kind of replaces Otter, but it's essentially the same concept. Yeah.
And Angie, ours does not. I think it's an extra pay, another paid
Pay
line.
for it.
So I still use Rev, even though we have a internal similar thing. We're teaching it our own things, but they can't figure out how to get me the transcription
Mm,
function. So it's
fun.
not automatic.
Yeah. Ours, one of the things our company did was they like blocked us from using all these other tools. So like Otter was blocked for a while. We got before they built our tool, we got them to let us go ahead and keep using it, but it took a act of Congress.
It makes sense. It's just feeding more data into your personal or into your proprietary drive.
Right.
I mean, that's the value of it. If you run all your interviews through it, it's gaining all that knowledge.
Exactly. Yep. Yeah, it's for the long term, it's certainly better to have all that going in. Plus, not that there's, Otter's probably pretty secure, but while it's our proprietary, it's also blocked from the rest of the web, right? Other search engine or other AI engines, even if they're using Claude or ChatGPT, they can't access what we've saved into our system.
Any other questions? No. Well, Eric, we sure appreciate your time. I'm sure you wouldn't mind if people email you if they have follow-up questions, and we'll
Yep.
record this, or this has been recorded and it'll get posted on the website here in the next few days, I'm sure. So, again, thank you everybody for joining us and enjoy the rest of June. It's going to be July before we know it, and stay tuned for our. I'm pretty sure we're skipping July, I think, because of Ag Media Summit for coffee and collaboration. So stay tuned for the next. We'll keep on everybody posted. So thanks again, Eric.
Thank you. And I'll be at Ag Media Summit too. So if you have more questions, ask me there too.
Sounds great.
All right.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.